here today I'm gonna show you how I made this vest. This is a knitted vest and it's made out of some fake fur yarn, so it doesn't really look like that it's knitted, it just looks like fabric, but it's really cute and I'm super happy with the way that it turned out. So if you want to see how it did that, just keep on watching. So this is the yarn that I used. Here I'm just showing you all of the details so you can see. And this is the needle I used. This was I think 6.5 millimeter. So what you're going to do with just a little test piece is you're going to measure 10 centimeters and count how many stitches that is, and then measure around you to see how long that is, and then you can calculate how many stitches you're going to need. So you can use a lot of different types of yarn for making this vest. I hope that makes sense. So I figured out that I needed 64 stitches for my vest to fit. But you can do as many stitches whatever suits you. It doesn't have to be an equal number, so it doesn't matter. So here I'm showing you the way that I make my stitches. This is just the way that my grandma taught me. If you have another way of making them, you can just go ahead and do that. So now here we have all the 64 stitches. Now I'm just making sure that it's not turned or twisted. So now we're going to make it into a ring by just simply going over and knitting on the other side. So we're knitting around, we actually knit it in a spiral shape. So I'm just doing normal knit stitch, and we're going to do that for the first part of the vest. Just go into every stitch and do this all the way around. So now I've finished making the first round. You can see I'm back at where the tail is. So that is how we can see when we make a round. So the next round we just do the exact same thing, just doing knit stitching, stitches, doing knit stitches. I'm just gonna keep this, and you can do this for however long you want the vest to be. You can already see that it's starting to become longer. So you're just going to keep doing these knit stitches. So now I'm done with the first part of the vest. I'm sorry about the lighting, it was a bit late. So I did about 25 centimeters. You can do it longer and you can do it shorter, whatever you prefer, before I'm going to separate it. So I just marked with this pink thread where I want my armpit to be closed, and that is the middle of all of my stitches. So there is 32 on each side of them, so they are in the exact middle. And now we're going to close 3 stitches, one before the pink one, and then the pink one, and the one after. So this is how I close stitches. Just you want to take one loop behind the stitch you just did and pull that over. And then do this 2 more times. So now we have the pink stitch. Also going to be closing this. You can already see there's coming a little gap. And the last one. So now here we have our little opening. So we're just going to do normal knit stitch till we reach the other pink thread. And then also close on this side. So now here we are, and we have the 3 stitches that I'm closing, just like we did within the other side. So that was 2, and then the last one. And then just do knit stitches till we reach where we closed the first one over here. So do knit stitches over to that point. Just like that. So now we have the 2 closings. So now here I just put in an extra knitting needle to just hold the stitches of the side we're gonna not work right now. So we're gonna work the side where the yarn is attached. So that is where we just ended. And the other side we're gonna do afterwards. So now we're gonna close 1 stitch in each side on the first row of making the armpit hole. So you're gonna knit those 2 together with a purl stitch. And that is how I do that. So now we're just gonna knit purl stitches all the way to the other side until there's only 2 loops left in this round. So now we have 2 loops left, and we're also gonna knit them together. So we're closing one. So that was the first row. And we're also going to be closing 1 stitch in each end. So do this with a knit stitch like I'm showing you here. And then just knit stitch all of the stitches to the other side. So now we have the 2 last loops and we're going to knit them together. So that was the first 2 rows. So now when we have closed 2 stitches in the first 2 rows, we're just going to be knitting the front part back and forth like I showed you, with purl stitches and knitting stitches, and with no more closing of stitches. So we're going to knit every stitch. So now I'm done knitting my vest the length that I want, and it is a total of 40 centimeters. So now we're going to be doing the shoulders. So here I marked it with the pink thread. I have 6 stitches to be the shoulder on each side and 16 stitches in the middle that we're going to be closing. So now we're done with that, and we're going to knit this shoulder first and then the other one after. So here I'm just doing knit stitching and closing one and the end together. So we have 5. On the other side we do purl stitches, and I'm knitting 2 together to close one more, so we have a total of 4 stitches when this row is done. And then I'm just closing it. And cutting the thread, and then the shoulder is done. And you're just gonna do this with the other shoulder as well. Just do the exact same. And then the front side is done. So now we're done with the front side of the vest, and you're just going to do the exact same to the back side where we split it. So here I also did the back side, and it is done. So here I'm going to sew the shoulder seams together just with a straight stitch. So I'm just pinning them together. It's a bit difficult to see because it's so fluffy. So now we're going to be doing the edges. So first I'm just making a little loop. And we're going to be doing one of the arm holes first. So I'm just going to be pulling this little loop that we just made through the yarn, And I just insert my knitting needle randomly because it's impossible to see your stitches with this yarn. So just like this. And now to make some stitches, we're just going to insert our needle, just a random place, through the vest. Really doesn't matter. And then pull the yarn through to make a little loop that we're gonna work like a normal stitch. You just want to do this process of pulling and making loops all the way around in this hole, and then we're going to knit them. So now I have all my loops and I'm just going to be knitting them like with knitting stitches. So you're just going to knit all of the stitches. So that was the first round, and I'm just gonna just continuing doing normal knit stitching all the way around. So I did a total of 4 rows here with the sleeve. So now I'm just gonna be closing them. You can do more rows if you like that. I just thought it looked good with 4. I later made a vest for my mom with this same yarn, and I didn't make any extra rows in the arms. So I didn't make any sleeves, but I did do the neck, as I also did to mine. So you can also do that. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this knitting tutorial. If you haven't done already, please subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you